joined our community in the 8th grade, and he has really made his mark on our campus. He is an awesome football player, and he serves as president of the Student Section Club. He is also involved in art clubs, Spanish Club, Green Club, and the Service Club. Amazing that he finds time to study, isn't it? Yeah. But he does work hard, and that's no lie. Please join me in welcoming Emery to the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Mason, for that amazing introduction. Before I begin my speech, I would like to say a few thank yous. Thank you to all my classmates and friends who not only help, but support me. Thank you for all the teachers for going above and beyond to make sure I get a high-quality education. Thank you to my amazing coaches and trainers who push me to be the best athlete I can be. And above all, thank you to my amazing mother who not only supported and put up with me for 17 years, but stuck with me through the good times and the bad. Thank you for everything, Mom. Now, for the moment you have all been dreading, my senior speech topic. Deciding my senior speech topic was probably one of the most difficult things I've had to do. But it's with great pleasure I announce my senior speech topic to be history of football. This may be seen as basic to some of you. I don't care. And for those of you who say football is boring, I don't want to hear a speech about it, I simply say, build a bridge and get over it. The origins of football date back to long ago in a galaxy far, far away. It all started with two cavemen. These two cavemen tend to walk around and make random noises. A lot. They were also not the brightest cavemen, as they set their clubs, the only thing that brought them joy, on fire, and it burned into ashes. They were extremely bored without their clubs, so bored that one of the cavemen died from boredom. This brought great sadness to the other cavemen. But then out of the ashes of the caveman came a football, and thus football was made. For those who literally know nothing about football, that was all one huge lie. Which leads me to my actual senior speech topic. Lying. According to Merriam-Webster, a lie is to make an untrue statement with intent of deception. Another definition of a lie given by Wikipedia states, a lie is an assertion that is believed to be false, typically used with the purpose of deceiving someone. The practice of communicating lies is called, wait for it, lying. Who would have thought of that? Probably the same genius that said, a person who communicates a lie may be called, wait for it again, a liar. The term liar was coined in Old English at about 13C from the term leoger. Leoger means false witness and hypocrite. According to my recent research, people have 8 main reasons for lying. Motive number 1 is to avoid punishment. This is the most common motivation for telling lies for not only kids, but also adults. An example of this would be when you lied as a kid to avoid the wrath of a very, very angry mother. The next motive is to obtain a reward that would not be obtainable if you didn't lie. This is like if you lied in a job interview in order to get a job. The next motive is to protect someone else from being punished. Although this motive is seen as very unselfish and kind, it is a lie nonetheless. Next, we have lying in order to avoid protecting oneself from the threat of physical harm. This is different from the actual action of harm. For example, when a kid would tell a stranger at the door that his mother or father is home when they're actually not. There is no actual harm, but there is a threat of it. Next, we have lying in order to gain admiration from others. Have you ever lied to make yourself seem cooler than you actually are? Yeah, that's what this motive is referring to. Next reason to lie is to get out of an awkward situation. And an example of this that actually happened to me is when someone farts in your freshman year Spanish class, and it turns out to be Jack Rich, after you promised it wasn't him. Another reason people lie is to maintain privacy, without letting others know of the intention. An example of this is when you lie to someone claiming there is no party, when really, they just aren't invited. Last but not least, we have lying to maintain power. This is like when politicians lie in order to get to a place of power. Liars are classified into 4 separate groups, which are deceitful, duplicitous, delusional, and demoralized liars. Deceitful liars are those who lie about facts, which is pretty self-explanatory. Duplicitous liars are liars that lie to others about their values. This makes sense due to the fact that duplicitous comes from the Latin word twofold. Duplicitous liars say they are committed to being someone or doing something, but their actions contradict them. Delusional liars are liars who lie to him or herself about the facts. Although not as common, you don't have to lie to another person. You can lie to yourself. You can tell yourself you did something for unselfish reasons when really you just wanted the reward. And lastly, we have demoralized liars, who lie to themselves about their values. Some people want to see themselves in a more perfect way, so that's how they perceive themselves. Catching someone lying is probably one of the hardest things to do. When some people lie, they usually are extremely vague and don't provide specific details. A tendency people also do when they lie is that they also tend to repeat the question. They usually do this to try and buy time for themselves to come up with a lie. Another thing common with liars is speaking of sentence fragments. Speaking in sentence fragments means the sentence is either missing a subject, a predicate, or a complete thought. Body language is one of the best ways to catch a liar. This is the most accurate because although a person may lie, their body will always tell the truth. When a person lies, sometimes they end up itching all over their body. They also might end up fidgeting with their hands. Eyes are another indicator of lies. Studies show that people who can't keep eye contact are more prone to lying. When someone's lip starts rolling backwards or they start biting on them, it's possible that that person is lying to you. Sweating, although one of the more disgusting ways, means someone is feeling the pressure, which means they possibly could be lying to you, or they could just be lying. Either or. And finally, tone of voice. Usually the higher the person's tone of voice gets, the more likely the person is lying to you. Also, when they have voice cracks, which usually indicates they are nervous. As my speech comes to an end, I would like to try out an experiment to see who's been paying attention and who's been falling asleep. I gathered 4 students and asked them to tell me about a funny moment. A student is lying, and using your detection skills I gave you, I'm leaving it up to you to figure out who. I will play each video twice, once at regular speed, once in slow-mo. Good luck.
I'm terrified of ladybugs. I'm terrified of ladybugs.
Now, after watching the video, who do you believe the liar is? Is it Bailey, Jack Mack, Jack Rich, or Kayvon? The correct answer is none of them. I was the only liar here. All of them were in fact telling the truth. The reason I chose this topic, lying, is because lying is generally seen as a negative thing. I believe it is the intent behind the lie that determines whether it is acceptable or not. If the intent behind the lie is selfish, that makes the lie also selfish. But say you're lying to protect someone else. I believe that can be seen as acceptable. Although this is acceptable, I still believe that lying is not good due to the fact that lying is a betrayal, not only to the person you're lying to, but also to yourself. To the senior class, I leave this quote. Worse than telling a lie is spending your whole life staying true to a lie. Thank you.